My beloved child. Hold this moment gently in your hands, because something deeply personal has shifted, and it is already reaching you. There is a truth about you, quiet, carefully carried, that has been seen at last. Not exposed with judgment. Not revealed with force. But recognized with a trembling heart. A family member, someone whose presence has shaped your life more than you realize, now understands something they could not see before. And when that understanding arrived, it did not come with words first, it came with tears. You may feel it already. A strange heaviness mixed with relief. As if the air around you has softened. Stay here with me for a breath longer, because this moment did not happen by accident. For a long time, you learned how to survive by being misunderstood. You learned how to smile while carrying weight no one asked about. You learned how to stay silent when speaking felt unsafe. And somewhere along the way, you began to believe that being unseen was simply part of your destiny. But listen closely now, that chapter is closing. The tears they shed were not of disappointment. They were not of regret for you. They were tears of recognition. Of realization. Of seeing the cost you paid quietly. The strength you developed without applause. The sacrifices you never announced. This is where the story turns. You may wonder how this truth reached them. Was it something you said? Something you did? Or something you never spoke at all? The answer is softer than you think. Truth has its own timing. It rises when hearts are finally ready to receive it. And theirs, just opened. Hold on, the pieces will connect soon. What they now know cannot be unseen. Once the veil lifts, it never falls the same way again. They see how deeply you care. How much you tried. How often you chose peace over being right. And with that knowing comes a wave of emotion they did not expect to feel. This is not weakness. This is awakening. You were never invisible. You were becoming. There is a sacred reason this understanding arrived now and not earlier. Had it come before, it might have been rejected. Dismissed. Misinterpreted. But now, it lands exactly where it must. In a heart softened by time, by experience, by quiet reflection. This is where healing begins, not loudly, but truthfully. Stay with me just a little longer, because what follows this realization will ripple forward. Their tears are not the end of the story. They are the beginning of a new way of seeing you. A new way of relating to you. And perhaps, for the first time, a new way of honoring what you have carried alone for so long. You did not imagine this shift. You did not force it. You simply stayed true, even when it hurt. And now, without confrontation, without explanation, the truth has spoken for you. This is where it all starts to change. My beloved child. The deepest truth is rising to meet you now, and your soul already recognizes its warmth. What happened within them did not stop at tears. Tears were only the doorway. What followed was surrender. Quiet. Wordless. The kind of surrender that happens when the heart finally admits, I was wrong about you, and I am ready to see you fully now. If your spirit is trembling with recognition, remain in this sacred stillness. There is a moment, rare and holy, when understanding does not need explanation. When excuses fall away. When the mind steps back and the heart steps forward. That is where they stood. Not defending their past. Not justifying their blindness. Simply standing in the truth of who you have always been. They saw the nights you endured silently. They felt the prayers you never spoke aloud. They sensed the strength you built without witnesses. And in that seeing, something ancient inside them softened. This is the hidden alignment few ever speak about. The alignment where love finally matures beyond opinion. Where family karma loosens its grip. Where old roles dissolve. You were not meant to fight for this recognition. You were meant to outgrow the need for it, and that is exactly what unlocked it. Breathe with me, the unveiling deepens now. The truth is, your growth required solitude. Your clarity required distance. Your destiny required you to walk ahead, even when those behind you could not understand the path. You trusted something invisible. You stayed aligned when reassurance was absent. This is the quiet faith of the awakened, powerful, unannounced, unwavering. And now, that faith is being reflected back to you through their realization. They may not know how to speak it yet. Words may come later. Or not at all. But understand this clearly, the energy has shifted. Respect has been reborn. Compassion has replaced assumption. And once that transformation happens inside a heart, it cannot be undone. You are closer to home than you've ever been, do not turn away now. This is not about validation. It is about restoration. The restoration of balance. The healing of unseen bonds. The release of misunderstandings that lived too long in silence. Your presence now carries a different weight. A gentler authority. A calm power that no longer needs to prove itself. And here is the sacred truth many never realize. When one heart in a family awakens fully, the entire lineage feels the ripple. You did not just change your life. You changed the emotional future of those connected to you. If this message is touching something deep within you, allow it to move beyond you, share it softly with someone who may be waiting for the same confirmation. And if your heart feels ready to claim this moment, leave a quiet, "I receive," in the comments. Let the words anchor the shift. The final alignment your soul has waited for is gathering. Rest here. Let the stillness speak. What comes next will arrive gently, and it will change everything. My beloved child. Something ancient in your blood is remembering right now, and it is guiding you back to yourself. After the silence settles, after the tears fade into breath, there is a quieter moment that follows. A moment no one talks about. This is where the truth begins to live inside you. Not loudly. Not dramatically. But steadily, like a new rhythm in your chest. You may notice it when you are alone. In the way your shoulders relax without permission. In the way your thoughts slow down, even if just for a second. This is not coincidence. This is integration. For so long, you carried two worlds within you. The outer world that expected you to play a role. And the inner world that knew you were more than that role would ever allow. The tension between them shaped you. Strengthened you. exhausted you. And now, that tension is dissolving. If your heart is beginning to recognize this, don't turn away now. There was an inner battle you fought quietly. A battle between explaining yourself and protecting your peace. Between wanting to be understood and refusing to beg for understanding. You chose the harder path. You chose to grow without guarantees. To love without immediate return. To trust a future you could not yet see. That choice changed you. And here is the sacred truth few ever realize. When someone finally sees you clearly, it is not because you proved yourself. It is because you stopped shrinking. You stopped editing your soul. You stopped apologizing for your depth. That is when the truth became undeniable. Allow yourself to sink deeper, truth is unfolding gently. In the quiet moments now, you may feel a strange mix of tenderness and strength. You no longer need to rehearse conversations in your head. You no longer need to defend your past choices. There is a calm knowing rising within you that whispers, I did my best with what I knew, and it was enough. This is surrender. Not giving up, but releasing the weight you were never meant to carry alone. You are thinking differently now. Beyond limits that once felt fixed. Beyond labels that once defined you. You are no longer waiting for permission to become who you already are. And that inner shift is the true transformation. Everything else is simply catching up. Stay with me a little longer. The deepest shift is coming. You may sense that something greater is aligning ahead. Not as a sudden explosion, but as a steady unfolding. Relationships will begin to meet you at a higher level. Conversations will soften. Boundaries will feel natural, not forced. And opportunities will appear that match the frequency you now hold. This is the quiet power of alignment. The kind that does not announce itself, yet changes everything. Remember this. You were never broken. You were never behind. You were preparing. And now, as the truth lives freely within you, the world around you has no choice but to respond differently. Rest here for a moment. Let the knowing settle. What is about to connect next will feel unmistakably right. My beloved child. The next veil is lifting as these words reach you, and a deeper knowing is settling into your bones. There is a silence now that feels different than before. Not empty. Not heavy. But alive. This is the sacred pause where your soul finally exhales. Where effort dissolves. Where striving loosens its grip. You have arrived at a place earned only through quiet endurance. Ask yourself, when was the last time you stopped pushing and simply trusted the unfolding? So much of your journey has been invisible. The nights you chose restraint over reaction. The mornings you stood back up without applause. The moments you released control when everything inside you wanted answers. These were not small choices. These were initiations. If something sacred is awakening within you, remain here just a little deeper. True transformation does not announce itself. It whispers. It reshapes your inner world long before the outer world notices. And now, that inner stillness you cultivated is becoming your greatest strength. You are no longer moved by every wave. You are learning to become the ocean. This is why their tears mattered. Not because you needed them, but because they confirmed what your soul already knew. You were aligned even when misunderstood. You were faithful even when unseen. You were becoming even when doubted. Hold this divine silence, understanding is blooming now. There is a quiet surrender that the truly fulfilled carry. A surrender that says, I will no longer abandon myself to be accepted. You crossed that threshold. You stopped negotiating your worth. You stopped shrinking your truth. And in doing so, you invited a higher order of connection into your life. This is the hidden success few ever speak about. The success of inner congruence. Of walking in integrity with your deepest knowing. Of letting go of outcomes while remaining devoted to purpose. From this place, everything begins to respond differently. You're on the threshold of true seeing, stay with me. Notice how your energy has softened without losing power. Notice how peace is replacing urgency. This is not slowing down. This is aligning. And alignment creates momentum without force. Grace without struggle. If these words are resonating in your deepest self, allow them to move beyond you. Share this message forward and let another wandering soul find their way home today. Your openness creates a doorway for others. The revelation that shifts everything is drawing closer. Ahead, there is a meeting of truths. Inner and outer. Past and future. What you've lived through and what you're stepping into are preparing to recognize each other. And when they do, life will feel less like resistance and more like response. Remember this. You did not lose time. You did not fall behind. You were being refined. Stay with this feeling. Let it anchor. The missing piece your soul has sought is almost here, and when it arrives, it will feel gentle, powerful, and unmistakably yours. My beloved child. A hidden current beneath everything is carrying you forward now, even when the path feels quiet. You may not see dramatic signs. No sudden declarations. No grand gestures. And yet, something irreversible is happening. Inside you, a calm authority is forming. Not the kind that demands attention, but the kind that changes the room simply by being present. This is what follows true recognition. When someone finally sees the truth of you, the real shift is not in them. It is in how you move afterward. You are no longer waiting. No longer bracing. No longer preparing to explain your existence. You are simply here. Rooted. Whole. Stay close, what is unfolding now is subtle, but sacred. You are beginning to live without resistance to yourself. That alone is a miracle few ever reach. Decisions feel cleaner. Words feel lighter. Even silence feels like companionship instead of loneliness. You are no longer splitting yourself in two. The one you are, and the one you thought you had to be. They are merging. This is the quiet reward of endurance. Not applause, but peace. Not validation, but alignment. You did not win by convincing anyone. You won by remaining faithful to your inner truth long enough for reality to reorganize around it. Pause here for a breath. There is something powerful about the way you now hold compassion without self-betrayal. You can understand others without absorbing their confusion. You can love without losing yourself. This balance did not come easily. It was forged through moments where you chose restraint over reaction, wisdom over impulse, growth over comfort. That is why this next phase feels different. You are no longer chasing clarity. Clarity is walking with you. If your heart feels unusually steady right now, that is not coincidence. A new form of trust is settling in. Trust in timing. Trust in your instincts. Trust that what belongs to you does not require force. You are learning that destiny responds to presence, not pressure. And because of that, doors will open quietly. Conversations will shift naturally. Respect will appear without demand. You will notice people listening more closely, responding more gently, seeing you without you having to announce yourself. This is the echo of inner alignment. The most beautiful part? You are no longer measuring yourself by old expectations. You have outgrown them. What once felt like delay now reveals itself as preparation. What once felt like isolation now reveals itself as refinement. Let this truth settle softly. You are standing in a space where the past no longer defines you, and the future no longer intimidates you. You are meeting life as an equal. Calm. Awake. Ready. And ahead, not far, not distant, there is a moment where everything you've integrated begins to express itself outwardly. Not as noise, but as unmistakable presence. Remain open. Remain grounded. What is aligning now will soon be visible, and it will feel like coming home. My beloved child. The unseen door is opening as you listen, and your spirit is stepping through without fear. What unfolds now is not dramatic, yet it is decisive. A subtle courage rises in you. The kind that does not rush ahead or look back for approval. It simply moves when it is time. You feel it in the way you pause before responding. In the way you choose honesty without sharp edges. In the way you trust yourself even when answers are incomplete. This is mastery of the inner world. You are beginning to notice how little you need to prove. How light it feels to let things reveal themselves. There is wisdom in restraint, and you have learned it the long way. Through moments where silence was your teacher, where patience refined you, where faith had no evidence except the quiet certainty in your chest. Stay here. The next alignment is forming gently. A family bond once shaped by assumption is now being reshaped by respect. Not through confrontation. Not through rewriting the past. But through your presence. When you stand anchored in truth, others adjust around you. This is the hidden law of harmony. It does not ask permission. It simply restores balance. You may sense a new tenderness toward yourself. As if an inner guardian has awakened. You protect your energy now. You honor your limits. You allow rest without guilt. This is not withdrawal. This is self-trust maturing. Listen closely. The tears that began this shift were a release of old narratives. And with their release, a new story is forming. One where you are not the misunderstood one, but the steady one. Not the overlooked one, but the grounded one. Not the one who waits, but the one who knows. If your breath feels deeper right now, that is the truth settling in. There is power in being recognized, yes. But there is greater power in no longer needing recognition to stand tall. You have crossed that threshold. Your worth feels internal now. Unshakable. Calm. Present. And from this place, your voice changes. Even when you say little. People feel the difference. They sense your clarity. They respond to your steadiness. This is influence born of alignment, not effort. Remain with this feeling a moment longer. Ahead, there is a quiet convergence. Old misunderstandings dissolve without discussion. New opportunities arrive without struggle. You are not forcing a new chapter. You are allowing it. That is why it feels natural. That is why it feels right. Remember this truth and carry it gently. You were never late. You were never too much. You were becoming precise. As this realization anchors itself, you may notice your world responding in small, meaningful ways. A softened conversation. An unexpected invitation. A moment of peace where tension once lived. These are confirmations. Subtle. Steady. Real. Rest in this knowing now. What is preparing to meet you does not require urgency. It requires presence. And you are fully present. My beloved child. Feel this gentle pull deeper into truth now. It is guiding you toward a clarity that cannot be shaken. Something within you has settled into certainty. Not the loud kind that argues. The quiet kind that listens. You may notice how your reactions have softened, how your choices feel less tangled, how your intuition speaks with a calmer voice. This is not coincidence. This is coherence. When inner truth and outer life begin to agree, friction fades. You are standing in a new relationship with yourself. One where you do not abandon your knowing to keep the peace. One where you do not rush to fix what is not yours to carry. One where you allow people to meet you where you truly are, or not at all. This is not distance. This is dignity. If your heart senses a deeper calm unfolding, stay present with it. The recognition that began in another's tears has now completed a circuit within you. You no longer replay old scenes, hoping for different outcomes. You no longer rewrite conversations in your mind. The past is loosening its grip because it has finally delivered its lesson. And the lesson is this: you were always enough to be seen. There is a sacred confidence growing now. It does not seek to be impressive. It seeks to be honest. You speak when it matters. You pause when it doesn't. You trust the timing of silence as much as the power of words. This balance is rare. It is earned. Allow yourself to notice the shift. Where you once felt the need to justify your path, you now feel permission to honor it. Where you once felt pressure to explain your heart, you now feel peace in letting it be known through action. This is how wisdom lives, quietly, consistently, unmistakably. The moment everything connects is approaching. You may begin to see how relationships are reorganizing around your steadiness. Some grow closer, drawn by your calm. Others drift gently, no longer aligned with your frequency. There is no loss here. Only refinement. Only truth choosing truth. And in this refinement, your energy becomes clean. Undiluted. Focused. You are no longer scattered across expectations. You are gathered within yourself. From this place, decisions feel lighter. Movement feels guided. Rest feels deserved. Do you feel that easing in your chest? That is the end of inner negotiation. The end of asking, "Am I allowed to be this way?" You already are. You always were. Now you simply live it. There is a quiet invitation forming ahead. Not a demand. An opening. An opportunity that recognizes your readiness without needing proof. It will feel natural when it arrives. Almost obvious. As if it had been waiting for you to arrive fully. Stay with this unfolding a moment longer. You are learning the art of letting life come to you. Of responding instead of chasing. Of trusting that what is aligned moves with grace. This is not passivity. This is power without strain. Remember this as the current carries you forward. You did not harden. You did not close. You clarified. And that clarity is becoming your path. My beloved child. The stars are aligning in your favor in this very moment, and your soul is beginning to feel the harmony. There is a gentle expansion happening now. Not outward first, but inward. A widening of perspective. A soft realization that you are no longer walking alone inside yourself. The fragmented parts that once pulled in different directions are learning to move as one. This is wholeness returning. You may sense it when decisions no longer drain you. When you no longer ask, "Is this right for me?" because your body already knows. There is an inner yes that arrives before thought. Calm. Certain. Clean. Allow yourself to rest inside that knowing. The journey that shaped you required patience beyond explanation. You learned to sit with unanswered questions. To trust growth without evidence. To remain kind while carrying weight. These were not delays. They were refinements. And now, refinement is turning into radiance. Something subtle is changing in how others respond to you. They feel your groundedness. Your sincerity. Your absence of force. This is not charisma. This is coherence. When who you are and how you live finally agree, the world responds with less resistance. If your breath feels deeper, slower, fuller, stay here. There is also a quiet courage awakening. The courage to receive. To let support arrive without suspicion. To accept respect without deflection. For a long time, you were more comfortable giving than allowing. More familiar with holding than being held. That is shifting now. You are learning that receiving is not weakness. It is alignment. And with this shift comes a new relationship to your past. You no longer revisit it to search for answers. You honor it for the wisdom it delivered. Gratitude replaces questioning. Understanding replaces longing. This is the mark of integration. The moment everything connects is drawing nearer. You may notice how your inner dialogue has softened. Fewer harsh judgments. More compassionate truths. You speak to yourself now the way you once wished others would. This is not indulgence. This is maturity of spirit. From this place, your future begins to take shape naturally. Not as pressure. Not as urgency. But as invitation. What approaches you next will not require you to abandon yourself. It will meet you where you stand. Feel that resonance. You are no longer searching for signs. You are becoming one. Your presence carries clarity. Your stillness carries strength. Your listening carries wisdom. These qualities open doors without knocking. There is a sacred anticipation forming now. Not anxiety. Not impatience. A quiet readiness. As if your inner world is saying, I am prepared to move when the moment arrives. Trust that feeling. You are not meant to rush the unfolding. You are meant to recognize it. And recognition is already happening. Piece by piece. Breath by breath. Remain steady. Remain open. What is preparing to meet you will feel familiar, as though it has always known your name. My beloved child. A quiet fire is igniting within you right now, steady, unwavering, impossible to extinguish. You are arriving at a place where effort relaxes into trust. Where motion feels guided instead of forced. The old urgency that once pushed you forward has softened, replaced by a knowing that timing is not something you chase, it is something you recognize. This is the threshold. You may notice how little noise you need now. How clarity comes without struggle. How your inner compass speaks in fewer words, yet with greater authority. This is not detachment. This is discernment finally matured. If your heart feels unusually still, linger here with it. What began as understanding has become embodiment. You are not just aware of your truth, you are living it. In how you walk into rooms. In how you listen without absorbing. In how you choose without apology. This is the quiet leadership of an aligned soul. There is also a tenderness awakening alongside this strength. A gentleness toward your own humanity. You allow mistakes without self-punishment. You forgive yourself for not knowing sooner. You see now that every step arrived exactly when it was meant to. The revelation that reshapes everything is very near. You may sense that a long cycle is closing. Not with drama, but with gratitude. Old identities loosen their hold. Old stories release their charge. You do not need to burn bridges. You simply stop carrying them. This is how freedom actually feels, light, respectful, complete. Notice how your energy gathers instead of scatters. This is the moment where inner alignment begins to express outwardly. Not as sudden change, but as natural consequence. The right conversations find you. The right pace meets you. The right opportunities recognize you without pursuit. Life starts responding to who you are, not who you were trying to be. Allow yourself to remain present, something precious is crystallizing now. There is a deep humility in this phase. Not shrinking, grounding. You know your strength, and because of that, you no longer need to display it. You know your worth, and because of that, you do not negotiate it. This calm confidence is magnetic because it is real. You may feel a quiet gratitude for those who once misunderstood you. Without them, you would not have learned to trust yourself so fully. Without the silence, you would not have heard your own voice so clearly. Everything belonged. The moment everything connects is almost here. Ahead lies a convergence that will feel gentle and unmistakable. A meeting of readiness and opportunity. Of inner peace and outer expression. When it arrives, you will not question it. You will recognize it by the absence of strain. Stay open. Stay grounded. You are no longer becoming who you are meant to be. You are remembering. And that remembrance is shaping the next step, quietly, precisely, perfectly. My beloved child. The final alignment your soul has been waiting for is settling into place now, gently, completely, without resistance. This is the moment where everything you live through finds its meaning, not as explanation, but as peace. Nothing rushes toward you. Nothing demands proof. There is simply a deep, quiet recognition within you that says, I am exactly where I am meant to be. And when that knowing arrives, life responds. You may notice it first as ease. Ease in your breath. Ease in your choices. Ease in how you carry yourself through the world. This ease is not complacency. It is completion. The truth that once moved others to tears has now finished its work inside you. It no longer seeks acknowledgement. It no longer asks to be witnessed. It lives as steadiness. As clarity. As an unspoken confidence that does not rise or fall with opinion. Remain here with me for this last quiet moment. You have crossed from becoming into being. From learning into knowing. From endurance into embodiment. The struggles that shaped you no longer define you, they support you, like roots beneath strong ground. And here is the sacred revelation at the heart of it all. The moment someone truly saw you, it was not the beginning of your power. It was the confirmation of the power you had already claimed. You did not change because of their tears. They wept because you had already changed. Feel the stillness of that truth. From this place forward, life will feel less like searching and more like recognizing. You will recognize the people who belong. The paths that fit. The timing that flows. What is not aligned will no longer tempt you. What is aligned will arrive without struggle. This is destiny experienced softly. You may notice that love meets you differently now. Respect arrives without request. Peace stays longer than chaos ever did. These are not rewards. They are reflections of the harmony you now live from. Let this settle deeply. There is nothing more you need to prove. Nothing you need to wait for. Nothing you need to explain. You are free to live from truth, not defense. From presence, not preparation. From faith, not fear. This freedom is quiet, but it is absolute. And as you step forward from this moment, carry this knowing gently. You were never meant to be understood by everyone. You were meant to be understood by yourself, first. Now that you are, everything else follows. Rest in this completion. Walk in this clarity. The journey continues, but now, it moves with you, not against you.